Okay, so I'm just going to very quickly run through the ANZ graduate program. I literally put these slides together as the others were speaking. So this is a little bit of a spontaneous presentation. So my name is Cindy He. I started the graduate program at ANZ in 2020 in the institutional banking stream. So this is a stream where we work with the bank's biggest clients, multinational companies and governments in Australia or around the world. There are other streams like the technology streams and the retail banking streams, and I will introduce them later. But for myself, I was in the institutional banking stream, and as with most of the grad program streams at ANZ, it's an 18-month graduate program with free 6-month rotations. And for myself, I first did institutional property. I got the chance to get invited to a lot of property developments, things that were being built, and network with developers, get to know what it was really like to be on the ground and see how the bank assesses these companies and decides how to lend money to them. And that was more of your traditional banking rotation, where I learned to write loans and assess the risk of our customers. So that sort of more traditional banking rotation is a compulsory rotation that the institutional grads do. The second one I did was in transaction banking, financial institutions. And that's where I got to learn all about how ANZ interacts with other banks around the world. When you send money internationally, it actually goes through a global network of banks. And I learned how that all operated from a business and a technical perspective. And then lastly, I did a rotation in financial crime intelligence. Now, this is definitely not actually part of the institutional stream, but I studied arts and law. I was really interested in geopolitics and crime, and I really wanted to explore this other side of the bank. So I actually asked my grad manager, Natalie, look, I know this isn't in my institutional graduate stream, but I'm really interested. Can I do this? Can I explore this entirely different division of the bank? And she said, yep, go for it. Totally supportive. And so I was one of the very few grads at the time who was from a completely different division. And I just got to do something in risk, where I was able to bust criminal syndicates. And I got to do a presentation eventually to the Australian Criminal Intelligence Commission, because obviously as a big bank working in financial crime, you do collaborate a lot with the authorities and other intelligence agencies. That was super, super cool, and I loved it. And now I'm an analyst in the industry and innovation team within transaction banking at ANZ. So this is where I assess fintechs and decide whether we should invest in them, or maybe we build the technology ourselves. What's worth it? What's a better option for ANZ? I also look into some really exciting stuff in digital currencies, cryptocurrencies, crypto assets. I'm sure we've all heard of NFTs. You know, it's a bit controversial, but this is some really exciting stuff that I'm working on right now. And of course, open banking and big data being one of the other main focuses at the moment, looking into artificial intelligence and machine learning and how we use that to automate the processing of data. Now, I know this doesn't sound like the traditional banking stuff, right, that you usually hear. And I'm not a traditional banking graduate. Even though I ended up at the institutional stream, I actually have a background in arts and law. I studied Asian studies. I loved World War II history. I studied the samurai. Like what I studied was so different to what happens at a bank. So why did I end up at a bank? Well, firstly, I really love technology. I love following it. I'm a huge science fiction fan. And secondly, when I actually got the offer to work at a bank, I thought, wow, my whole life I've been doing humanities. I always thought I would end up in government or in the public sector. But here I have this once in a lifetime chance to do something completely different, enter a completely new world. And so I took it, right? I decided it's easier to start here, start now at ANZ, learning it from the ground up instead of trying to make a switch midway through my career, which is probably a lot harder. So I, coming from an arts law background, having studied history, with totally, a lot of really weird interests, I ended up taking the offer to do the institutional banking program at ANZ. And so some of my strengths, and I know everyone on the call, you probably have, you come from different, you did different degrees. Some of you may have done commerce and economics. Some of you may have done a double degree with, science or something. That is completely welcome. ANZ loves it, loves hiring grads from different fields. We've gotten grads not only in institutional, but across all other streams who came from backgrounds like journalism and biotechnology, medicine, engineering. So super, super diverse. And for myself, my strengths were mostly in research and writing, communications, presentations, love creative thinking. I don't like doing stuff that's too routine. So I ended up aligning my interests to the job I currently have. And yeah, I love it. So some of the day-to-day work that I do, I help assess fintechs. I participated in global hackathons. Within the first 6 months of my current job after my grad program, I participated in a global hackathon organized by the Monetary Authority of Singapore, which is Singapore's central bank. And we designed a digital currency for their country. And it was amazing. We had no expectations whatsoever. We're a totally new team, didn't really have any experience in hackathons, and we ended up top 15 in the world, with my name being one of the names as on that submission in the hackathon. So there's so many opportunities at ANZ. They're super supportive and they're really, really active. And depending on what you like as well, there's definitely areas where you can meet all of your passions and interests. I mean, if I can, and I loved history and I liked sci-fi and geopolitics, then you probably can too. So there's lots of different areas that you can explore, and they're quite flexible about it as well. So going on to, outside of my stream, outside of the institutional stream, ANZ actually has a super, super big graduate program. Of course, not only do we have institutional, we also have ANZX, which is a pretty new stream. So that's basically like the startup area at ANZ, but with the resources of a bank. So if you go into that stream, you'll learn all about, you'll be pretty much in a startup culture, which is pretty exciting. There's also the retail and commercial banking division, the agribusiness division, where we have grads who are based in rural towns and rural areas, talking to our customers, our agribusiness customers, and really building up those relationships. So ANZ's a really big relationship bank, and we're a really big institutional bank as well. We definitely do a lot of customer facing activities with a lot of big customers. And there's a lot of opportunities to travel around as well. You can travel from state to state. If once COVID, the COVID impact, dies down, there's definitely a lot of opportunities to travel overseas as well, because ANZ has, out of the big four banks, one of the biggest networks across the Asia Pacific. I would say the biggest. So we're present in 33 markets around the world. Of course, we have New Zealand, but also we are big in Southeast Asia, and we do a lot of trade activities in East Asia as well. So we have offices in multiple cities in China. I've got offices in Hong Kong, Singapore, Japan, Korea, and lots of Southeast Asian countries too. And yes, so for all of you who may have studied technology or a STEM background, we recently opened, and I was only recently told about this, but we have now opened a specific data division as well. So if you study data science, I would highly encourage you to check that out. So I've got the data division now as well. Obviously, we're ramping up a lot of our work in technology. We've got the broader technology division too. We often take a lot of grads for technology, so definitely keep an eye out on that. And actually, our applications, I believe, are open until 21st March this year. And that will be applying for next year's grad program. And so again, very quickly, our application process, I think that we don't take your CVs. So we ask you to answer a couple of questions to outline your experiences and your interpersonal skills. You do a game. It's very quick. You do a personality questionnaire, as you do with most grad programs, a video interview, and an assessment center. And I must say that by far, the assessment center, when I did it for ANZ, it was very, very relaxing. It was extremely supportive. I could immediately tell that the culture was really, really good, super welcoming. And yeah, all the other grads that I met that day, we get along very, very well, and we're still good friends today. And I'm not sure if you've heard, but I think this year we were ranked Australia's #1 graduate employer by the Financial Review. So we take grads in multiple cities around Australia: Melbourne, Sydney, Brisbane, Adelaide, and Perth as well. So if you look it up, you'll find some more statistics about how many grads we took the previous year. We also have a lot of clubs and societies for grads to join. So if you're interested in movies or blockchain or hacking or books, there's clubs for everything. We have a very strong community of people who keep these spaces active and who hold a lot of events. As a grad, you'll also have the chance to join the Graduate Knowledge Committee or the Graduate Social Committee, where you get the chance to lead and organize events where you might interview senior employees at the bank on an area of their expertise. It might be in quantum computing. It might be in artificial intelligence. Who knows? And we also have the Graduate Social Committee, where it's a bit more fun and chilled out. You can organize drinks with friends, movie nights at the office. So there's a lot of flexibility, and it's really up to you how to shape your own experience. I should mention as well that usually each graduate stream does a grad project where you're put into groups, you're given a topic. And so on top of your day-to-day work, you also work together on solving a real business problem for the bank. And if your solution or proposal gets chosen, it really is funded and implemented. So it's almost like a little mini hackathon. So I've just really quickly spread through that. I'm just wondering if there are any questions here. I'm happy to take any questions. Is your grad program open to mature students? What about 100% remote jobs? Yes, we are definitely open to mature students. I think at the moment, we don't have any requirement for grads to be in the office. There are no mandated days. You can work from home entirely if you want, though I do encourage to be in the office. It's way easier to network with people. But yes, I think, yes, you can do your grad program remotely. And yes, I do know that we have quite a few mature students as well in our grad programs. Can I apply as an international student? I think that you need to be an Australian or New Zealand citizen to apply, but please check the website to confirm. How much learning is done in the graduate program through formal learning? So ANZ has, it definitely depends on the stream as well. I can't speak for some of the other streams. I wasn't in those streams, but in general, I feel like we have a really strong learning culture. We have an internal social media platform where people post events for debates, internal debates. Are cryptocurrencies going to last? Or buy now, pay later? Is it actually useful or is it financially harmful? So we have all these debates. We do it between grad cohorts from across Australia and New Zealand. There's a lot of learning that even each team designs for their grads, because the grad program ANZ is very mature. So people understand that, all right, we've got to schedule in sessions. We're going to do one-to-ones. We're going to help find you mentors and actively support that, even if you want to meet people outside of that team. So very, very supportive. And I know we're running out of time. Please stop me, Philip, if you need me to stop. Internships at ANZ. Yes, we do. We have a summer internship program. I can't remember the dates, but you can look that up. And I think I'm at time, so I will pass back to Philip.
That's awesome. Thanks, Cindy. I appreciate that. You absolutely smashed that, even with a little bit of preparation. Absolutely did great.
Thank you.
So, all good. Thanks for sharing.
No worries. Thanks.